When you think of MMA's biggest stars of the late 2000s, names like Brock Lesnar and Anderson Silva come to mind. But hipster fans will point to a 26-year-old just 7 fights into their career. Today, we take a look at one of the most important and divisive fighters in MMA history, including the pressing question: were they even any good to begin with? Welcome to the INC, and this is the story of Gina Carano. It seemed destined that Gina Carano would pursue a career in competition. Her father, Glenn, had been a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys in the late 70s, and leading a young Gina to follow her father in becoming an acclaimed high school athlete, with volleyball, softball, and basketball proving 3 of her biggest fortes. In 2004, Carano was encouraged to take up Muay Thai by then-boyfriend Kevin Ross. It was during one of these fights that Carano met local MMA promoter Jamie Levine, who approached the fighter to compete in the state's first women's MMA fight in Nevada. Carano made her MMA bow against Leticia Pestova at a World Extreme Fighting event in Las Vegas, where it took just 38 seconds for the fighter to acquaint herself to the sport.
That's it. Yeah. 38 seconds of the first round. Listen to the crowd.
Carano continued to find success in her new surroundings, beating future UFC fighter Rosie Sexton before a decision win over Elena Maxwell in Strikeforce, at that time a regional promotion based in California. For all her achievements, however, Carano faced the same issues as several female fighters of the time. The lack of exposure of women's MMA meant many saw the sport as little more than a pastime. Little did Carano know she'd play a key factor in changing this forever. In December 2006, Elite XC was formed under the guidance of boxing promoter Gary Shaw, and backed by the TV producer Showtime, was framed as a serious threat to the UFC's dominance in North America. Elite XC knew they needed to think outside the box when it came to matchmaking, and approached Carano to compete in their first event the following February. Carano's opponent would be Illinois fighter Julie Kedzie, a 13-fight veteran who'd faced the likes of Tara LaRosa and Shayna Baszler in her career. Speaking in the years after the fight, Kedzie admitted she didn't realize the scale of the bout when she signed to face Carano.
I was actually contacted by a friend of mine, and she said that she put my name up for it. And shortly thereafter, I heard from the promoters and everything. And I'm pretty naive or dumb, if you will, like when it comes to big deal fights. And I didn't realize the magnitude of the Showtime fight. If I hadn't lost that fight, I probably, who knows what would have happened. So losing that fight was one of the best things for my career.
Carano vs. Kedzie took place on Elite XC's debut show Destiny, marking the first time a women's MMA fight was broadcast live on network television. The match surpassed all expectations. A hard-nosed brawl of momentum shifts before Carano dropped Kedzie in the later stages of the second round. Carano would claim the unanimous decision, but the biggest winner was women's MMA itself, the fight proving the female side of the sport had a place in top-level competition. What was intended as a one-off became a working relationship between Carano and Elite XC, as the fighter returned to the promotion against future Invicta champion Tonya Evinger. After being taken down early, Carano showed much improved abilities on the ground, and after Evinger gave up her position with a failed guillotine, she submitted her grappling-heavy opponent late in the first round.
Is Evinger going to survive? Oh, it's over! Gina Carano submits Tonya Evinger!
In the months after, Carano took her first steps into Hollywood. In 2007, she appeared as a mentor for the Oxygen series Fight Girls, one of the many combat reality shows attempting to capitalize on the Ultimate Fighter's success, before being cast in the NBC revival of American Gladiators. With good looks and a vibrant charisma, Carano was soon staking a claim as one of MMA's biggest stars, a huge achievement given her gender and her career taking place outside the UFC bubble. Carano's third outing was her highest profile yet, as she took on hook-and-shoot champion Caitlin Young on Elite XC Primetime, the first time an MMA event had ever been broadcast on network television. While Carano won the match by doctor's stoppage, it marked the first signs of backlash against the fighter. In the build to the bout, Carano faced questions over her lack of discipline, with many believing her Hollywood projects had taken her focus away from the cage. This came to a head at the weigh-ins when Carano fell 5 pounds short of the 140-pound limit, forcing the fighter to give up 12% of her fight purse. Carano suffered further weight troubles for her next outing with Kelly Cobalt, but the virality of her weight quickly erased any ill will against her. Carano made comfortable work of Cobalt over 3 rounds, extending her record to 7-0 in the process, but circumstances out of her control meant it would be her last fight for Elite XC. During the show's main event, Seth Petrozelli claimed an upset win over company star Kimbo Slice, and later insinuated the promotion offered him money to keep the fight standing. The scandal, added with debts of $60 million, led Showtime to withdraw their funding for Elite XC, leading the promotion to close its doors a few weeks later. The scandal placed Carano's short-term future in jeopardy. While most of Elite XC's fighters could find refuge in the UFC, company president Dana White had been a vocal critic of women's MMA, and Carano and her peers faced the prospects of returning to the regional scene to make ends meet. That was until a familiar name gave her a much-needed reprieve. In 2008, San Jose Sports and Entertainment purchased a controlling stake in Strikeforce, and thanks to its increased investment, purchased the remaining assets of Elite XC, including its television deal with Showtime and the remaining fighter contracts not taken up by the UFC. While Elite XC's women's bouts were treated as showcases, Strikeforce would introduce a full women's division complete with championship. Carano would be one of the women to compete for the inaugural strap, where she'd face a 24-year-old Brazilian making waves on the regional scene, Chris Cyborg Santos. Carano vs. Cyborg became one of the most talked about fights in the sport, a combination of Carano's star power and the extreme contrast between the two fighters, a Beauty and the Beast battle of technical prowess versus brute strength and aggression. Such was the fanfare, Strikeforce made the unprecedented decision for the fight to main event its San Jose card, making it the first women's headliner for a major promotion. Carano vs. Cyborg took place in front of 600,000 TV viewers on August 15, 2009. Carano had little answer for Cyborg's relentless power, as the Brazilian teed off on her opponent against the fence, before finishing the fight with ground and pound in the dying stages of the first. While most accepted Cyborg as the better fighter, Carano's fighting came under fire for her poor decision-making in the bout, most notably when she chose to give up full mount following a botched takedown from her opponent. Not the last time she made an ill-judged move that harmed her career. Carano had been set to return to Strikeforce against Sarah D'Alelio in 2011, only for the fight to be cancelled after Carano failed a pre-fight medical. It would be the last time an in-cage return was taken seriously, as the media MMA balance that dominated Carano's career became more focused on the former. In 2009, Carano was given a lead role in Steven Soderbergh's Haywire, a surprise box office success that opened the door to major Hollywood opportunities, including roles in Deadpool and the Fast and the Furious franchise. Despite her growing star, Carano's refusal to formally confirm her retirement led to constant rumors of a return. During an interview with Joe Rogan, Carano revealed she'd entered discussions for a match with Ronda Rousey in 2014, only for Dana White's handling of negotiations to the fighter to withdraw from the deal.
What I had told Dana and Lorenzo at that time was, I don't have a team. I don't even have an idea of a team. I don't have a gym. Give me the time to a 6-month. Well, Dana, he was like, and I've got Gina Carano, and it's going to be against Ronda Rousey. And he started pumping it out on the, Twitter, and he pumped it out in the interviews. And I was like, you just can't go back into that world and feel instantly disrespected on so many levels. So I was like, I'm cool. And then I think another movie came up, and I was like, sweet, I'll just go do this movie then.
Carano's career reached its high point in 2019, when she was cast as Cara Dune in the Star Wars series The Mandalorian. Dune would become one of the show's most popular characters, leading to rumors of her receiving her own spin-off, before a series of controversial social media posts led to her being fired by Disney in 2021. Carano resurfaced in Hollywood with Terror on the Prairie, a Ben Shapiro-produced western alongside former UFC fighter Donald Cerrone. The film would become one of the biggest flops in Hollywood history, with a worldwide gross of $13,000 off a budget of $75 million. A sequel is not expected to be released. While Ronda Rousey is hailed as women's MMA's first megastar, many of the traits that carried her to success were first seen with Carano. A combination of good looks and charisma who could back it up in the cage, but her post-fighting career meant her pioneer status is often overshadowed. Was Gina Carano an MMA trailblazer, or someone who happened to be in the right place at the right time? Much like the woman herself, it's complicated. This is the INC. Please like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell so you'll never miss a video.